stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
You're listening to the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC Galveston.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Unless Congress strikes a deal with the White House on funding for the Department of Homeland Security, most of the federal government might shut down at midnight tonight. House Speaker Mike Johnson says this is nothing more than political posturing because Congress already passed ICE funding in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill last year.
We sent it over to the Senate, and now, some Senate Democrats, in my view, are trying to play games with this. They're trying to tie what's happened in Minneapolis with the appropriations process, and it's not a credible argument. They say they want reforms in Department of Homeland Security. Well, fine, let's talk about that. But what they're forgetting to note, and the important thing, is that the funding for the Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, ICE enforcement, has already been provided.
Speaker Johnson appeared on the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins. The interview will be broadcast starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. More winter weather is on the way for parts of the South still digging out from last weekend's storm.
There's definitely a big winter storm that's going to be developing off the coast over the next 24 hours, and it's going to be spreading a pretty large area of heavy snow from eastern Tennessee into northeast Georgia, much of central to northern South Carolina, pretty much all of North Carolina, and southwest Virginia and a portion of southeastern Virginia.
Bob Oravec with the National Weather Service says temperatures are expected to be in the teens for many areas still covered in ice. The Department of Homeland Security says journalist Don Lemon has been charged with federal civil rights crimes in connection with an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 179 points. More at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
The Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is celebrating a milestone.
The 150th annual show opens Saturday and wraps up with the Best in Show prize Tuesday night in New York's Madison Square Garden. What's now the most famous dog show in the country began when some 19th century New York gentleman hunters organized an event to compare their dogs. That first show featured about 1,200 dogs at dozens of breeds. This year's show boasts 2,500 dogs, representing as many as 212 breeds. Rich Thomason reporting.
A newly minted dollar coin will feature a woman from the Oneida tribe, Polly Cooper, known for aiding George Washington's army during the Revolutionary War. Cooper joined Oneida warriors on a relief mission from their territory in what's now central New York to bring corn to starving rebel troops at their winter camp in Valley Forge. News and analysis at townhall.com.
Chris X here to tell you about Humble Amco transmission and AC specialists. People who know go to Amco. I personally trust Jay Streckfus and Humble Amco with all of my vehicle's needs. With complete car care, they'll take care of all of your auto needs as well. Always a free check engine light inspection, and tell them that Chris X sent you for a free engine scan. Call Jay today at 281-446-0862. That's 281-446-0862, or online at humbleamco.com.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for Comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
Checo Pro Joe here. Join me this Saturday at 11 a.m. when Andrew from A&A Gem Pro Generators discusses whole home standby generators and the peace of mind they bring. That's this Saturday at 11, right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
Hi, this is Michael Miller. Join me this weekend for the Backyard Bay radio program, now at our new time, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice.
One for each other and all for one. The three brave amigos are we.
Andale, amigos.
Brother to brother and everyone. A brave amigo. And amigos forever will.
That's right. It's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a wintry Friday drive home afternoon. You've got the tax man, El Senador Paul Betancourt at the helm, the soul man of the upcoming Strew Review, Ben Struzan, the effervescent, whatever, Judge Eric Andel. Get your phone calls in to producer El Supremo, Gary at 281-558-5738. There has been more news in this last week than we can handle. Every week, I think we are seeing the top of the froth. You know, it can't be more news than last week.
Well,
I mean,
Eric is awfully happy today. So.
Well, I ought to be. You guys blew a 90 to 10 advantage in polling. I mean,
well, wait a minute. We didn't invade Greenland. What did we do wrong?
Oh, your immigration policies are going very well with the public. Very, very well. Right. Nice job, guys.
All right. Well, anyway.
I mean, we were in here talking about last week that everybody, I made a big deal. Everybody should exercise the 48-hour rule.
And they didn't do it again.
And they didn't do it again. And that's where I'm going with this. And I said when that lady, Renee Good, was shot, everybody ought to shut up until they look at all the videos and make sure they understand the context before they open their mouth. And of course, our side started calling her a terrorist and claiming that she was intentionally trying to drive into this ICE agent,
which now was unknowable at this point.
Right. Which now we have all this camera video from that first one, which gives really a very balanced view. I mean, the ICE guy probably feared for his life, and the lady was probably trying to get out of the way, okay? But she shouldn't have been there. She violated the law. She was told to stop. She didn't. All that is context, but none of that was known in the first hour and a half. And then here we go again when this other guy is unfortunately killed in Minneapolis, and the first thing out of Kristi Noem's mouth is that he's some kind of terrorist. Yeah, and he was carrying a gun, which turned out to be a cell phone, and everything she said was refuted before the sunset that day. So her and by location, everybody else around her looks like they have no credibility on
And
the
is
issue.
this in a Street View?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're going to be able to hear
So
this
the-
repeat at 5 o'clock.
So the 48-hour rule always applies. Say nothing for the first 48 hours. Look at the video.
Well-
and by the way, Eric, your side was just as bad.
I'm not.
I'm
not pushing back. You guys are losing this. I'm not.
Yeah, you're doing it without any help from us.
Well,
but I
by
have
the way-
faith in you. I'm very confident at some point you'll screw it up.
I don't think
okay,
so. Not on this issue.
But the issue has been and always will be that if you have a live perpetrator that you can talk to, it is much better than a dead martyr by any PR standards that I understand. And the problem is this guy is dead, and when and without a doubt. He was a concealed weapon holder
With a permit, and our side has been preaching, take your guns to your protest rallies for a couple of decades. It's part of our second. It's part of our second. And then all of a sudden we're going to start complaining about it.
Now the video is obviously clear that the gun was pulled away
by an ICE agent,
unfortunately, and the two
might have discharged by itself accidentally.
Well,
right?
that one, who knows? Because the crime scene wasn't secured. The shell casings weren't there, everything. That's the problem with everything that happened. But you have two, when you look at that interview, the two, one, it's a customs agent, the other one's a border patrol agent, right? I think that's how.
Well, I don't know. There were like eight.
No, there's two
federal agents around.
One of them became pretty aggressive to start with, and instead of a de-escalation, it was an acceleration. Now,
and then our head guy in Minneapolis starts calling him a terrorist.
Well, and the problem with all of this,
Steve Miller says he's an assassin.
Yeah, see, now
intentionally there to kill ICE agents.
Right. Yeah. Now it later comes out he did kick a car. Did you see that?
We saw the tail light.
But they actually swarmed out of there and didn't arrest him at that point in time. Now, look, the bottom line is when the Trumpster goes silent, that's when things start happening.
As far as I'm concerned, Kristi Noem blew her credibility for our sake, for the sake of everybody else that supports what ICE is doing. She needs to be replaced.
Well,
because she is now messed it up twice in a row.
She said the same thing.
Twice in a row.
She said the same thing. That was her first words out of her mouth about the woman.
But the Trumpster.
That's what I'm saying. Twice in a row.
But President Trump did the thing that he needed to, which is send Tom Homan.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone with a lot of credibility, and now you're in the position of having to defend your sanctuary city policy where you refuse to cooperate with ICE and you refuse to allow ICE in your jails to arrest criminal illegal immigrants, and that's the ground I want to play on.
We'll see.
And that's going to change the public opinion.
You guys won't hold that line.
Well, now
we'll hold
now
it.
by the way, Holman
He's so much better.
He sat down with Ellison. Okay, and people wonder if the Attorney General of the state is important. Well, think about it. Holman goes to Minnesota. Who is he talking to? He ain't talking to Waltz. He ain't talking to the mayor about a deal. He's talking to who? The leftist progressive AG, and that's what they worked out on the. ICE looking at the
I'm
jail.
not aware. They haven't agreed to that. Nobody's agreed to that
I
yet.
know, but I mean, that's
which they're not going to because it would screw up their Democrat position.
Well, and that's why Holman's there, is to try to have some top-down guidelines brought back into this situation. Now, by the way, he's going to be on Hannity tonight at 8 o'clock. So, so we'll be playing clips here today, and then you can get another view later tonight. Because Tom Holman's going to be on at 8 o'clock on Fox News. Well, now, with all of this, the issue is reacting instantly to unknown facts on the ground.
Yeah, making conclusions is simply to stake out a political position as opposed to looking actually with all the cameras that are around her. Doesn't everybody in Washington know that everybody's got a camera? I mean, come on, people.
Well, so... that no matter the investigation needs to occur, Eric, correct? Okay.
Yeah, a fair investigation. Right now, they're going to let ICE agents do the investigation.
No, it's the FBI. Don't even go there.
No,
it is the FBI.
Nolan said the FBI was not going to be part of it.
The FBI is leading the investigation.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's what I heard too as well. So,
but then you'll do something stupid like charge him in state court. I guarantee you'll do something like that.
Well, but
Ben, you're trying to deflect. We're going to.
I'm just telling you where you're going, guy. That's what
Don't
you're.
worry about
Don't be so
Ben,
smug.
okay,
You'll be in here next week
Ben,
trying to defend this.
No,
I'm
Ben.
being
Ellison.
smug, Ben.
Ellison didn't do it on the first shooting. They didn't file anything. Now, I don't know. I know there's been extensive discussions between Holman and Ellison. Now, as to exactly the framework of this, we'll see how it all falls out. Now, that investigation's separate. What the administration can't afford, really, the country has reacted very negatively to, is this unforced error of jumping out with extremely vitriolic language immediately without getting the facts first. And that has clearly...
You can't say he had a gun when he has a cell phone on the pictures. I mean, look at the freaking video.
Well, he had one in a holster, but then he has a license for it. Now, anyway, the problem with all this is that the Trump reaction was very muted. And when Trump is not talking, the people that are making mistakes need to be worried. Now,
for sure.
How worried is up to the Trumpster to decide. But in the cabinet meeting, there were no questions for.
Yeah, she wasn't talking,
and she also wasn't called on. So, and the subject wasn't brought up because again, Holman's out there to find out what's going on, exactly what happened, etc. Because the public reaction to this when the polling comes out,
it's out.
It is out.
Well, it's been a week, so yeah.
So what do we got? It's got to be negative. It's upside down.
Yeah, I'll look at it. It was already minus 14. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. So well, it's probably worse than that now. But that's the pitfall that they can't go down. I think what's interesting is that ICE as an institution, I think several months ago had like a 59% approval ratio. It was down to like 42 immediately on the shooting, and then probably at lower than that now. That's the type of stuff that it takes years to build back up.
Well, what they need to do is go back to their base policy that of not mass deportation, but ICE going after what Trump said he was originally going to do, and that is those who had warrants out for their arrest, violent criminals, out on bail, that type of thing.
Well, that's what Holman said they were going to do.
But
again,
if they he is making a direct link between sanctuary city policy, refusing to cooperate, refusing to allow ICE into the jails to arrest illegal immigrants who have committed crimes, and current policy. So the deal is you let us in those jails, and I don't think your base is going to allow them to do that.
See, Ben.
Well, no,
don't worry about our base.
No,
your base is crumbling. Don't worry about ours.
No, now there's a point.
Don't be so
there's
confident, Eric. I can tell you right now, you'll be defending yourself.
All right, time
in a
out,
couple
guys.
weeks.
I want to make a local point here. He's on the right public policy track because the 287G, which was safe communities, the first thing that Sheriff Gonzalez did when he got into office about 8 years ago is he abrogated the county using that ICE hold. Okay, now the Holman is right to point back to this is what we need you to do, because if there is a violent criminal that has an ICE hold, it behooves everybody, even the Democrat Party, if they can get out of their own way.
Yeah, I like that topic of conversation.
Right. They should.
See, Ben, you're so cynical that we're not.
I am, because it's turned. I haven't seen it. It'll turn. I guarantee you it'll turn.
Now we do have some breaking news that we're going to talk about because we're going to talk about. Well, one of the breaking news is actually a deal on not shutting down the government that has big implications.
Oh yeah, that's a bad deal.
Okay. Well, see, Ben, now.
Ben, you are.
That's another major mistake.
All right, now let me set up our next guest. Okay, we do have breaking news because in a big deal and a big review, Texas A&M has reviewed 5,400 courses, okay, for gender study modification issues, and they have completed it. And it is coast-to-coast news, and we're going to have the president of Texas A&M, Tommy Williams, on right after this. So let's take a break. Get your calls in, 281-558-5738. You can join Peter at 281-558 KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. We're on so many platforms I can't even remember. We're on 700 AM.
Live streaming on Facebook, on Rumble, on YouTube, and I don't know, if you Google us, I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
And we're at KSEVradio.com for audio streaming.
And 1540.
Live down from Galveston.
KGBC.
Right.
That's easy to remember.
KGBC.
C.
KG, right.
KGBC.
All right. We're everywhere. And we're going to have President Williams on from Texas A&M next here on The Voice of Texas.
Do you need money? Want to lower your monthly debt? Are you thinking about a cash-out refinance? Hi, it's Kathy from Baker Mortgage. A cash-out refinance can get you back in your comfort zone, and that's what it's all about. A recent client who closed with us had his payment go up about $300, but his monthly outgo was being reduced by $1,200, so giving him a net positive cash flow of $900. It's not about adding debt, but restructuring it in a way that makes sense. And this math totally makes sense. And please don't sweat it if your interest rate is going up a little or if you're extending the term. I can show you by taking a small amount of what you're saving monthly and applying it towards your mortgage, you're going to pay it off just as quickly and you'll be way ahead in the money game, which is where we all want to be, right? Remember, we want to help you, but we're not going to help you over a cliff. Baker Mortgage, 281-313-MOVE, or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender, license number 263213.
Donald Trump has given Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick his endorsement, saying Dan Patrick is a true MAGA Republican. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is the driving force behind the Texas legislature that makes laws from conservative ideas. And Patrick has made Texas the most conservative state in America.
As Lieutenant Governor, I fought to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Texans and passed campus carry, open carry, and constitutional carry. Today, every Texan has the right to bear arms. Protecting Texans is important to me. That's why I dedicated $3 billion over the next decade for dementia research.
He's an amazing politician, Lieutenant Governor, a man of great religion. Dan Patrick, one of the most highly respected men in politics. We worked on something having to do with school choice, and we knocked it over the fences, and that's the ultimate school choice in Texas, and he's been fighting for it for years.
I am giving him my complete and total endorsement.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Dan Patrick campaign.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate and O'Hara Homes. I'm going to pose some questions that you might want to research. Why was JFK assassinated? Did we really land on the moon? Is the Earth really a globe? And is it the size they tell us it is? Did 9/11 happen the way we were told? Are pharmaceutical companies really there to cure diseases? Who are doctors trained by? Did God create everything on earth that we need to stay healthy? Is fluoride in our water really helping us? What are those long trails of clouds left by airplanes, and what's in them? Did all the astronauts die in the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion? And is Elvis really dead? I search answers for everything. And if you're searching for a real estate company, give O'Hara Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393. Again, that's 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at oharare.com. I have a special guest with me, my granddaughter, Bailey.
God bless America, God bless Texas, and God bless my pop.
Hey, it's Joe Pags coming up. Don Lemon arrested. That's right, he dared them to come and arrest him, so they did. Plus, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton running for Senate, and Gary Burnson did that investigation into voting, and more on the Joe Pags Show. Tonight at 6 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the voice of Texas.
Let me tell you how it will be. There's one for you, 19 for me. 'Cause I'm the tax man.
Yeah, you've got the tax man in with the three amigos here on The Voice of Texas. Got the soul man, got the judge, and I've got an amigo that actually is known to everybody here. Okay, and that is former Texas Senator, former finance chair of the Texas Senate, and current president of Texas A&M, Tommy Williams. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Paul. It's thank you for letting me join you today. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
No, thank you, Tommy. Now, you have completed a pretty monumental task because you were tasked to look at gender studies in 5,400 courses at Texas A&M, and I think at all the, not just the main campus, but at the other campuses as well. So that was a huge assignment that you got, Tommy. why don't you tell us about it and tell us your results, because this is probably the biggest review of this type of review, I think, ever in the country's history. But take it away, President Williams.
Sure. So in late December, the Board of Regents passed two new provisions in our system rules that basically the gist of it was to ban race and gender ideology in all of our core courses. And then if you were going to touch on those subjects or subjects of sexual orientation, it had to be approved by the president, and then only in upper division or graduate level courses. So the 5,400 courses that were reviewed, just to be clear, that's just at the flagship at Texas A&M University. The other 11 universities in the system will do their own review. So I'm really only talking about what happened here at A&M. And of course, we're the biggest institution in the state, and so that's where most of the
and Tommy,
review would have taken place.
Right, and Tommy, by definition, y'all doing that review for 5,400 courses probably means that probably is, you might not want to say it, but if A&M has to do it, it's probably a record in the country, certainly a record west of the Mississippi. But anyway, so take it, Tommy. So as president, what did you find, and what are your recommendations?
Well, I think the important thing to know here is that our faculty and it would be the department heads and the deans, and I'm going to tell you, some of the folks probably didn't agree with the policy, but they got after it and did the work and reviewed the courses. And then for most of them, they were able to work out the details at the faculty level so that the courses could be modified so that they came into compliance with the new system policy. And the ones that did not, or if there was a question about it, were reviewed by a panel of 5 people that the provost office put together. So it would have been the vice president of academic affairs, and then 4 other faculty members, not from those colleges that were being reviewed or programs, but in an adjacent area, so they'd be familiar. And they reviewed, and a lot of the courses were resolved at that level also. So what made it to my desk were just under 100 courses where there was a question about whether they needed the CEO approval or not.
Because they weren't, right, because this is whether they're violating the gender policy.
I don't even understand. What's the example of that? The one that
race and gender ideology are the things. It's both things. And so then what would happen
Tommy, slow down a second, Tommy. The policy you've been told to do is effectively a center stripe neutral on that, and not have a, like an LGBT leaning course deal or some other example that in DEI. That you're under the instruction from your board to get that type of stuff out of the core coursework. True?
That is correct. Anything to do with race or gender ideology was not allowed to be taught in the core courses. And then if it was necessary for the discipline that was being taught, it could be taught at an upper division course, but only with the approval of the CEO. So about just under 100 of these courses made it to my desk. We took a look at them, and altogether there were 6 courses out of 5,400 that were canceled because they did not or could not comply with A&M system policies. There were exceptions that were granted for 48 courses, and most of those exceptions involved a situation where, first of all, you got to realize we're a month into the semester already, and if you had graduating seniors, we put our students first, and we wanted to be sure that everyone stayed on track. And so we tried to mitigate those classes. There's some of them that probably, we wouldn't like to have the next time around, but we didn't want to pull the plug out from anyone who was about to graduate. And so if we had a majority of the reviewers say that these courses were going to be that they should move forward, then I went ahead and made the exception for those. So, and most of them, in fact, there were many of them that didn't even need, they should have never made it to my desk. They didn't need an exception. And some graduate level courses and medical school courses and stuff like that. So anyway,
but
it
it's
was
Tommy, but it's the first time, so people are going to send stuff to you because they're not sure. That's just, human nature. So you had 100 come to you, but the bottom line is you took action on what, half a dozen?
Six courses were canceled. And so this was a useful exercise, and the reason it was useful is it ensured compliance with these updated policies. But the other thing is it made sure that we had alignment across course sections. For instance, we have a lot of classes where there are multiple sections of those courses that are being taught, and over time, I think we had some drift in those classes.
Sure, it's bracket
where,
creep.
One professor was teaching it a certain way, and another professor was teaching it another way. And so we looked at the learning outcomes, and I'm not saying every course is exactly the same, but they have to be meeting those learning outcomes, and they have to be teaching what was advertised, so to speak, what the course description said the course was about.
Right, because Tommy, you've had people that have actually refused to share syllabuses, okay?
And that was one of the classes that was canceled.
Right. I think that was
Dr.
Dr. Bright. Yeah, right.
Yes, very interesting now about Dr. Bright. So he refused to provide the information to the dean that he requested about the class, so the dean canceled that class. And that never made it to my desk. The dean said, look, you have to do this. And so he wouldn't provide it. But now he's teaching another class, not the same subject, but another class, and he provided all the information in that class. So, and the other thing is
that might have taught him,
profile.
Tommy, that might have taught him a lesson and everybody else.
Yeah.
If you ask for the syllabus, you're going to get it, or the course is going to get canceled. Now, this is.
I think really he did it to make a point.
Sure.
And I think in a couple of the high-profile instances, that it was really a stunt that was being pulled by that professor. The other example that people have heard a lot about is in our philosophy class, and there was a lot said that Plato wasn't being taught at A&M, which is not true. But we had a philosophy professor who changed the syllabus in his course so that it would be in direct conflict with the new board policy.
Sure, to make a point. Right.
To make a point. And the philosophy department head, who's a Plato scholar, said, you're plucking things out of Plato here that the point you're making is not really the way this subject should be taught, and you can either take it out or we're going to assign you to another course.
Right, because he was making a political point with it. Because as anyone
correct.
that studied that, it is voluminous. He wrote a lot, and especially in a couple of his major works. All right, so you went through all this. You've got your process. You've got the result. There's 6 courses that are canceled. Many more have been either fixed or modified. And then you do have, for a first time ever, question about majors and minors. So you want to take it on that?
Yeah. The another thing that came out of this that I think will be the bigger story eventually is that I've instructed the provost to wind down our women's and gender studies program. And that decision is really based on 2 things. One is we have very low enrollment. There's 25 people total enrolled in that program for either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science.
Hey Senator Ben Strusen, I got to ask you. By the way, do I call you honorable or senator or just
call him
just
president?
Tommy will be fine. That's what my friends call me.
President Tommy.
Once you get one of these degrees in, what did you call it? A gender.
Women and gender studies.
What do you do with it exactly?
Well,
you go to work.
I'm
Ben,
I'm not the guy.
Who would hire you? I mean,
you go to work at a DEI operation and you become a vice president. All right. Anyway, let's go back to this. Now, so you had 25. How many were actually the major, like less than 10 people in the?
No, there were over the last 6 semesters we've had for the Bachelor of Arts program an average of 9 people
less
majoring
than
in that.
10.
And in the
Yeah.
Bachelor of Science, 17. And then there were some undergraduate certificates and minors and graduate certificates that were also included in that. But basically, the low enrollment, there just isn't the interest at our institution. This is really not enough people it's barely enough to say I'm going to have a class on this, much less a major course of study.
Yeah, Tommy, if you pardon a pun, for all the Aggie, and Aggies will understand the word, for all the hullabaloo about this, we're talking about 9 people in one major and 17 in another. And for all the money that has been spent, all the taxpayer attention, everything that's happened, all of this DEI mentality, and all the money that's been spent, we're talking about 9 in one major, 17 in the other. And look, there's no way the coordinating board, in my opinion, Tommy, and I'm just somebody who watches this, would let a degree program go with so few people. Eventually, it's going to get asked anyway.
Yes, they would have eventually come around to telling us to cut it out as a non-productive major. It doesn't meet the standard of what you should have under the coordinating board studies. So, we've canceled this class now, but what that means is that, we, to maintain our accreditation and also as an obligation to our students who have declared a major, we'll have to teach out the students who are in those classes. So it'll take at least 6 semesters for us to totally end this program, because we can't just pull the rug out from under people who've already had a major declared. But we have closed this so that nobody can declare a major going forward, nor can they transfer into this program. It'll only be the students who are currently enrolled in the program. And so that's what it's going to look like. And we couldn't bring this program into compliance with the new board policy. It was just going to be too difficult given the subject matters that they had in their courses. So we'll continue to work on that as we go forward, and we're going to teach out the people who are in the program, and then it'll go away.
Well, look, this is you've done a stepwise, I guess you described yourself as bean counting, Tommy, step-by-step process of going through and getting this result. It's certainly a rational process. It may have an outcome that some people don't like, but you're down to a de minimis number of beans that you're counting, which is 6 classes, and that's a small amount that makes the cancellation list. And it tells a couple things that, if you're looking at a policy that has a, non-DEI, gender, gender factual base, male, female, and that's what you're trying to establish, that that this hasn't been a rampant problem, but it has been a well-publicized problem at A&M. And Tommy, you're not just coming on with us today, even though I thank you for breaking the news here.
So basically what you're saying is no more children literature courses that have gender identity material trying to teach various pronouns to people.
President Williams's response is?
And no, that's part of the whole course alignment thing, and that was a children's literature course. And what happened in that class was that's all that instructor wanted to teach in the class, and that's not appropriate. And the whole review process is set up to course correct on those kind of things.
Well, and anyway, Tommy, as president, you're taking it on. You're doing interviews like this one. I saw the press announcement just a few hours ago. So it's an important thing to get to say what the university's doing, because A&M is the flagship of the system, and this has to be, I think, the largest comprehensive survey done, at least in the western states, if not all across the country, because I don't believe anybody else is tackling it at this level. So that's a lot of courses to review, and I think by putting the facts out, people now can see what actually was occurring and the steps you all have taken. And the fact is that you've got a half a dozen courses that you scratched, as well as a couple majors that didn't have more than, well, actually 26 people in total, unless one's a duplicate for 25. So, I mean, and you're clearly following your board policy, and they're listening to as the governing body of Texas A&M, because that's not the faculty senate anymore. They weren't the Texas Senate, and the Texas Senate and the House have said the governing body is and will be the Board of Regents.
Right, and we're following board policy, and my hat is off to our deans and department heads who did the heavy lift on this, many of them working through the holiday to make sure these courses were reviewed in a systematic manner, and that there were a lot of courses where corrections were made. Our goal was to not cancel classes, but to get them where our students who are enrolled in them could take, finish their degree program. So in the end, there were 66 that were canceled, and those were an introduction to race and ethnicity, religions of the world, ethics and public policy, diversity in sports organizations, cultural leadership and exploration for society, and diversity, equity, and inclusion in youth development organizations.
Well,
so those were the six classes that were canceled.
I'm pretty sure the intent of Senator Creighton's DEI bill was not to have the last course. That much,
I don't know how that got in there, but that's why we did the course review.
Yeah, but and I'm glad as a co-sponsor that course is gone, because it's right there in the title.
Right.
All right. Well, unless our Democratic colleague Eric has questions, he's just absorbing it all like a sponge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the methodology they used, Eric. You may not agree with the results, but I mean, it's pretty systematic methodology to get there.
Yeah, I'm just having the grasp is just understanding the whole concept of what was eliminated and why it was eliminated, and I would have to go course by course. I mean, I have no idea.
Well,
why something was eliminated, and why, and then the question would be, well, why was that eliminated?
Well,
okay, well, what's wrong with
to
that?
prevent a repeat of the children's lit course having all the gender identity.
Well, I understand, but my question would be, well, then why?
Well,
I would just ask.
Let's let President Williams get the final word in here. Tommy.
Yeah, and the answer to Eric's question is that those were decisions that were made by frontline faculty members. So we had department heads and deans and the provost. The academic engine of the university is what made these decisions about what should and shouldn't be in there based on our board policy. And so some people agreed with it, some people didn't, but they implemented the board policy. I think that's the point, that our faculty and those folks stepped up and took care of what had to be done.
Well, and they did, and Tommy and you did, and A&M is definitely in the lead on this portion of the issue. The other people will, and they do, those other systems may be out ahead on DEI itself and others, but this has been something you've taken on, and it's really now going to be I think the model for not only the system schools, but for the other schools in Texas. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Well, we're committed to continued oversight in the future, and I appreciate you letting us come on and explain what's happened here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. That's Tommy Williams, president of Texas A&M University. Okay, we're going to turn number and get your calls in 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. We'll be back after this on The Voice of Texas.
The Joe Pag Show, tonight at 6 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the Voice of Texas.
This report sponsored by Gallery Furniture. If Made in America is important to you, come to Gallery Furniture. Buy it today, get it today. Gallery Furniture saves you money.
Mattress back here in the Mac Z-Cliner. I'm recovering from surgery thanks in large part to this miracle chair, the Mac Z-Cliner. You can sit in it, you can recline in it, you can watch TV in it, you can eat in it, you can sleep in it. It goes to zero gravity position. The Mac Z-Cliner helped me recover. It also has heat and massage, a place to charge your cell phone. Come out to Gallery Furniture, buy a Mac Z-Cliner before your surgery. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, or after your surgery, Gallery Furniture delivers tonight, and you'll sit and sleep great tonight.
From the KSEV Weather Center, tonight expect clear to partly cloudy skies with cold temperatures dropping to a low of 31. Tomorrow morning will bring some breezy conditions, giving way to plenty of sunshine later on with a high reaching 46. Tomorrow night will be clear and very cold with a low of 26. Moving into Sunday, we can anticipate plenty of sunshine and a high of 54. Looking ahead to Monday, there will be periods of clouds and sunshine with temperatures climbing to a high of 67. With the KSEV Weather Center forecast, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina.
The Shirelles released and went to number 1, 1961. How about the next one? Released to number 1, Crimson and Clover. Now Ben doesn't know some. I'm not being facetious. Ben doesn't know some of these. Released and number 1, 1976. Hall & Oates.
Who is this?
Hall & Oates.
Oh, Hall &
Go
Oates.
for that.
Yeah. This is the song you picked?
This made the Beatles. This is 1964.
Oh, yeah.
They came to America. This was it.
This was their opening song.
Right.
This is what rolled everybody.
I saw him on Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan show.
And I want to hold your hand. Not yours now.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Ed Sullivan?
They knew Ed Sullivan.
Released.
ABBA.
1976. ABBA. Mamma Mia. We played that a couple times recently.
Okay.
700. KSEV 700. KGBC 15.
Never liked that song.
You can sing,
You don't
Craig.
like Mamma
I
Mia?
never liked that song.
Why?
Well, I like pizza, and that's what it reminds me of.
And?
Okay.
But-
Mamma Mia, mind you, pizza.
Reminds me of pizza, but I just don't like
You've got
that.
carnivore issues.
I don't
Ben.
think you like
I don't
ABBA.
know.
I don't think
I
you've
think
seen the
you've
musical.
got-
It's okay.
Have you seen the musical Mamma Mia?
No. Well, I've avoided it as much
No,
as I
you should
could.
go see
No,
it.
you should go see it. It's
It's
fun.
wonderful.
All right, I got some polling for you.
All right,
well,
talk to us on polling.
Shouldn't I give the call letters and do
Yes,
some
give the
business?
call
I really
letters
have
one
to,
more
really.
time.
KSEV 700
AM.
AM, KGBC 1540 AM, the
Right.
voice of Texas. Drive home. Senator Benton Court and Ben Struzek.
All right, so you asked about ICE. I got some of the polling I found. 53% of registered voters, that's not likely, but registered, believe ICE and Border Patrol raids and their presence in U.S. cities should end now. That's 53%, which is composed of 19% Republicans and 71% of 19% of Republicans agree. 71% of Republicans believe they should continue. 47% believe ICE should be disbanded. That's an uptick from 43% of all voters. 27% of Republicans joined 66% of Democrats, and 46% of independents wanting ICE abandoned. And let me just see if there's any other.
Okay, let's.
You get the gist of it.
All right, I want to get the callers in 281-558-5738. Get your calls in because we have some type of deal on a partial government
which
shutdown.
it's a horrible deal.
Okay, yeah, there's some type of deal. Lay it out, Ben.
Well, from what I understand, and I don't know that this is going to pass the Senate, but the Republican side, led by Trump, because I think he's willing to accept this, he's willing to extend all the other agencies and government funding except Homeland Security, and that only gets a 2-week extension. Well, the problem with that is you give up all your leverage, you give up all your negotiating power, because once everything else is extended, Democrats will not give in to any kind of funding on ICE until they get their demands met.
Well, okay, Eric, at this point...
And their demands are basically stop Minneapolis, withdraw all... we can't do that.
Well, okay,
we're not going to do that.
I've got an overarching political question. If the Democrats get a clean vote on Homeland Security, it is almost impossible for them at this point not to vote no at least once. True?
Correct, sure.
Yeah.
And
so no matter what's up,
but even
their first vote's going to be no.
And the deal, deal that you will accept when we have no leverage over you will be a withdrawal of what we're doing in Minneapolis, and we cannot accept that.
Yeah, you can. Part of it.
We will not.
You can get close to that.
We will not. Not without destroying credibility with our base. No way.
Well, that base, I'm curious about that base you're talking about. That 71,
we want the criminals arrested, and we want everybody who has already had their immigration hearing and ordered deported, we want them out of the country.
But you're doing more than that, Ben.
We are doing more than that because we're having a problem getting to the folks that we need to get to.
I think you're being too naive on
that.
No,
you are misbranding things by representing to the public that we're driving up and down Hollywood Boulevard looking for Hispanic people to arrest. That's not happening.
No, they're doing a lot of things they don't have to do, like simple traffic stops with guy has no warrants or anything. They don't have to, but they're detaining them on traffic stops.
They are detaining and releasing people that they stop if they have probable cause, if they believe that they're in the country illegally. There's nothing wrong with that, Eric.
Let me
they should not be holding U.S. citizens.
If it were that simple,
Eric, you have made this total mountain. Congratulations to your side, because you really have hoodwinked most of America in accepting what you are pitching here. But a lot of it is hooey.
No, you're being too naive.
The problem with all of this is there is saturation video coverage of the second shooting everywhere in the United States.
And Kristi Noem has destroyed our credibility single-handedly.
Right, and
whatever.
And her reaction is not quite as well known, but it's close. Okay, so the American body politic has made a decision. Now, and I keep saying this, when Trump does not have a comment, he is evaluating what would be classified as an unforced error, and so he's trying to get Holman there, trying to come up with an alternative, package.
Who is going down the exact correct track.
And we do have clips from him that we can play back after the break.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a break and get your calls in. Peter, we will get to you, 281-558-5738, 281-558 KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. We'll turn and burn and have Soul Man out of the break next here on the Voice of Texas.
Hey, it's Joe Paxton of Don Lemon arrested. That's right, he dared them to come and arrest him, so they did. Plus, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton running for Senate, and Gary Burnson did that investigation into voting, and more on the Joe Pags Show. Tonight at 6 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the voice of Texas.
President Trump doesn't trust backstabbing rhino Chip Roy, because in Washington, Chip Roy defended Liz Cheney and wanted to impeach President Trump.
The President of the United States deserves universal condemnation for what was clearly impeachable conduct.
Chip Roy sided with Gavin Newsom and the trans lobby to allow radical transgender surgeries on kids. And Roy told MAGA voters,
"You can kiss my ass."
Chip Roy even helped illegal aliens avoid deportation. Texas deserves Trump ally MAGA Mays Middleton. MAGA Mays defeated the atheists, restoring the 10 Commandments in schools. MAGA Mays stopped radical transgender surgeries on kids, banned men from girls' sports, and kicked perverted men out of girls' restrooms. And MAGA Mays designated drug cartels terrorists and is fighting to stop Sharia law in Texas. That's why President Trump called Mays a MAGA champion with a conservative record that is second to none. Trump ally MAGA Mays Middleton for Texas Attorney General.
Political ad paid for by the Mays Middleton campaign.
Listen to the Total Wealth Academy radio show Monday through Saturday and learn how to build a second stream of income with real estate and lead a more balanced life. Check TotalWealthAcademy.com. That's TotalWealthAcademy.com for showtimes. Thank you.
Take it, Ben.
And welcome back to the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a Friday drive home afternoon. Got another cold front coming through, so get ready for that. Then the Soul Man, the Strew with the View Strew stand on the right. You got the tax man, Paul Betancourt at the helm. Liberal lefty judge Eric Yandel just sitting here gloating all day.
I am. But that's the
long.
best I've felt in a year.
Yeah, over our polling numbers on
It's
immigration.
been a year.
Which used to be a strength, I think, of Trump, and now
It was the strength.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been mishandled, no question about it, and our credibility has been hurt on the issue. But I am completely confident in Tom Homan and his ability to get it back on track. In fact, let's play this clip from earlier this week. Let's go with number one, Gary.
We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. When we hit the streets, we know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. You have a criminal history. You have their immigration history. A lot of information about this person that we get from numerous databases out there. Targeted, strategic enforcement operations. That's traditionally been the case, and that's where we're going. That's what we're going to continue to do and improve upon that. With a prioritization on public safety threats. I want to be clear. I don't read a lot of social media. I don't read a lot of media. I don't believe half what I see. We are not surrendering the president's mission on immigration enforcement. Let's make that clear.
And I'm glad he's adopting the Strew View strategy, which from a year ago.
Okay. Well, yeah, Ben, this is what Holman has always preached, and that's why the president has a long relationship, trust him. That's why he sent him to Minneapolis, is to get that line back out and drawn. Let's take a quick call.
And your side will never agree to allowing
Not
us
a matter
in
of
those
agreeing.
jails.
You all just
will
have
not
to,
allow
You don't
us
have
in
to
those
worry
jails.
about agreeing.
Okay.
You have to get back to the center line.
Okay, let's get Andy up from Jersey Village. Come on, Andy.
Only thing I'm going to tell you is, if you came across the border illegally, that's a felony. And I don't care if they don't cause another crime in this country, send them back. They can't work, they can't vote, they can't contribute to our society other than working as little slaves. I think that's what your judge there talks about. He wants them here as slave labor. He likes the way the South was back before 1860. So,
he is a Democrat, but even
he is a Southern Democrat.
Yeah, he is but Andy, even he wasn't alive that far back in the time.
I'm pretty old, but
that's right.
Maybe
I'm going to tell you what, he's an old guy and he understands what I'm saying. They're looking for cheap labor, and this is a good cheap labor, but the person has no future. He can't, unless he can't apply for citizenship. He ain't going to learn English. He ain't going to learn the history.
Yeah,
he ain't going to pay the fine. He needs to go home.
We need to prohibit. That needs to be front and center. Congress prohibit anyone who came into the country illegally from applying for U.S. citizenship.
Oh, I would sign off on that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Still
but
with
the
my
rest of your
party. No, they would.
So yeah, do you think they would take like a blue card at that point?
Sure.
With no
driver's ability to get insurance, driver's license, and be public safety.
Democrats might take that without a pathway.
For sure we would.
Oh,
I think you're wrong about that, Ben.
Bull.
All right.
I want to see Elon Omar take that deal and her whack-a-jobos.
Okay, well, everybody's about ready to get a chance because there's going to be a 2-week period, Ben, where all this is going to be discussed, assuming that they can get those resolutions passed through the Senate, even for that. All right, let's get Peter.
Yes.
Great.
I'm here.
Good. Hey, Peter. So
here.
you've got your Knights of Columbus, the big event on the 4th. It's at the KC Hall on 1488, and it starts when?
6:30.
6:30 on what day?
The 4th, February 4th.
Right.
Wednesday.
And I have not been able. I trashed my knee so bad 2 weeks ago I couldn't even get in the studio. It got gimpy on me in the middle of this week. It feels a lot better today. I'm going to call you tomorrow whether I can make it.
Well, we cleared everything off. If you walk in, you own the place.
Well, I've always wanted to own a Knights of Columbus Hall anyway. Okay. Anyway, so tell us. Anyway, you got Montgomery. You got Montgomery County. Tell us who's coming, or whatever you want to say about it. Go.
Well, we have a lot of people coming. The biggest thing in the county is the judge. He's being challenged.
Right, and that's just Keogh versus J.P. Mack. Okay, so that's a hot race. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have Congressional District 8 is vacant.
Right.
So there's people looking for that. I'm not sure if we snag the candidates or not, but it's still time.
All right.
And then, of course, District 2, they're nipping at him.
Right, that's Crenshaw with Steve Todt. So you got a lot of candidates coming. So if you want to go to a candidate forum, you go on the 4th up to the Knights of Columbus Hall on Highway 1488, and you've got seating for about a couple hundred folks, right, Peter?
Yeah, plus.
Plus, okay.
Hey, I want to make one little point here. Peter, listening to the A&M fella.
You got about 10 seconds. Go.
A lot of kids go to A&M, and it's good to clean that up a little bit. The same thing we're trying to bring out the pros and cons of the people we are about to elect.
We are, Peter, but we got to run. Anyway, we'll be back with more of the Three Amigos next year on The Voice of Texas.
AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC Galveston. Petrol on The Voice of Texas. Don't go anywhere. The Amigos will be right back on The Voice of Texas.
Ben Thomas reports President Trump is threatening sanctions over Cuba while reopening Venezuela.
President Trump signed an executive order that would impose tariffs on goods from countries that sell or provide oil to Cuba. It's a move that puts pressure on Mexico. President Claudia Sheinbaum said this week her temporarily stopped oil shipments to Cuba, but called that a sovereign decision, not made under pressure from Washington. Meanwhile, Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, signed into law an overhaul of her country's oil industry, easing state control in an effort to lure investors. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Journalist Don Lemon has been charged with federal civil rights with an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church. Attorney Abby Lowell says Lemon was arrested Thursday by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he'd been covering the Grammy Awards. Lemon was charged Friday with conspiracy and interfering with the First Amendment rights of worshipers. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 179, the NASDAQ dropped 223. More at townhall.com.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, hoping you'll join me on the unforgettable Gulf of America cruise happening in November of 2026. Imagine this: turquoise waters, white sand beaches, incredible food, insightful conversations about the future of America. Scott Jennings and I will be your hosts. We'll dive into the issues shaping America as we cruise through some of the most stunning destinations while honoring the 250th anniversary of our nation. Book your cabin today. Text the word cruise to 94878. Text cruise to 94878 or visit MikeOnline.com.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
President Trump says he made the right choice by deciding to nominate Kevin Warsh to lead the Federal Reserve.
He's very smart, very good, strong, young, pretty young, and I think he's going to do good. I mean, he was the central casting guy that people wanted.
Warsh once supported higher interest rates to fight inflation, but more recently has backed lower rates. That puts him in alignment with President Trump's philosophy. Gold and silver prices plummeted early this morning following news that Warsh would be nominated. Investors started selling off precious metals, with gold falling by as much as 10%, dropping from $5,500 an ounce to about $5,136 an ounce. Silver nosedived by up to 20%. At the closing bell on Wall Street, the Dow was down by 179 points, and NASDAQ off by 223. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
From KSEV, here's political contributor Ben Strusand.
Because everyone in America has a camera on their cell phone, we don't have to rely on eyewitness testimony to know what happened when tragedies occur, like the death of Renee Good, who was shot by a federal law enforcement agent in Minneapolis. We can all view 2 videos of the event, one of which is from the cell phone of the officer who fired his weapon. From the officer's vantage point, we see Good's SUV turning into him, who before she was shot was ordered by federal law enforcement to stop and get out of the car. From a different video, we see the car turning tightly to the right, trying to speed away, probably trying to avoid the officer who had his gun, standing directly in front of her. Both narratives are true and probably accurate. The officer feared for his life, and the driver was trying to avoid hitting him, but the turning radius of her car was too wide and in his path. Nevertheless, Democrats and their media allies are claiming she was murdered. They want to put the ICE officer on trial in state court. The governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis are claiming ICE agents are committing atrocities. They ignore the context, namely that the victim was there to prevent ICE from doing its job, that her car was parked pointing the wrong way on a one-way street, that after being ordered to get out of the car, she thought she could get away and avoid the consequences of her actions. No one, not even hardcore lefty zealots, want to spend the night in jail. But this lady was not a domestic terrorist, and Kristi Noem's claim within an hour of the shooting looked like an old swamp tactic designed to avoid blame. Public opinion is turning against immigration enforcement, and that will be a big problem in November. We never hear about the criminals who are being arrested and deported, nor do we hear about the illegals who have had their hearings before an immigration judge and have been denied their bogus asylum claims. That should be the priority. ICE will only enter a residence if the illegal has been ordered deported by an immigration judge. No amount of video will change minds without the facts to back it up. I'm Ben Strusand, and that's my view.
Ben Strusand, only on AM 700 KSEV.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for Comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
One for each other and all for one. The three brave amigos are we.
Arriba, amigos.
Brother to brother and everyone. A brave amigo. And amigos forever will be.
That's right. It's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a wintry Friday drive home afternoon. You got the taxman, El Senador Paul Bettencourt at the helm, the soul man of the previous True View, Ben Struvin, and the effervescent, actually, Eric Happy today.
Happier.
The judge. Get your calls in to producer El Supremo Gary, 281-558-5738. tons going on. We've got a clip that we need to start off with Holman, because that's really the national point of debate. Yeah, it's really the inflection point. It's everything. This week has been, unprecedented and frothy beyond anybody's anticipation when we left the show here a week ago. That can tell you that every year I think that we've seen it all, and it's eventually going to plateau out. Never does.
Bad analogy, but from my history, similar. The Vietnam era in Kent State, and I replay that when I'm watching some of this. I've been through this
man,
before.
You're old. All right.
Yeah, well, I've been through I mean, I have seen this civil unrest. I've lived through it. I've seen the effects.
We're not even close to what I remember 68 and 69 in terms
I'm just saying
people out in the streets.
It's what
major
my
city. No, and they're doing protests this weekend. And there's going to be
protests everywhere.
There's one here somewhere at the county. Maybe.
Well, there was one at the up at the Capitol building. They were marching around the Capitol building today.
Going to be here in Houston.
And by the way, Saturday night, and I can report next Friday, I will be with Senator Klobuchar.
Oh,
which will be very interesting.
She's running for governor.
She's running for governor of Minnesota. So very timely.
Wow. So
I will be there.
Are you having your fake Reagan Lincoln dinner? Is that what that is?
It's the Johnson Rayburn Richards dinner.
Okay. Yeah, really. But come
Why
on,
don't you call it the Kennedy dinner or something?
No, because they start with Johnson.
Do I ever make
Rayburn.
fun of, and I don't,
They're
Reagan?
like Texans, okay? That's the whole theory, all right?
Yeah.
But only in theory.
All right, Ben, you've got polling, right?
Yeah.
Which one?
Local, just state. Local, I want to first go, we talked about the state senator race, right? I mean, the United States Senate race.
Right.
Hot
polling.
Yeah, you want Tallarico and Crockett.
Because the big prediction from the Amigos is Uncle Paul and Eric, or Grandpa Eric.
You two are picking Tallarico.
Tallarico and upset, and you were holding on to.
I'm picking Crockett because I think
you want to run against Crockett.
Well, I want to run against Crockett because I believe that Democrats in Texas are just as loony as the rest of the country, and they're going to pick the most loony.
All right,
candidate.
so if we can get a drum roll or something.
Yeah. So we had a poll out yesterday, 1,290 likely Democrat.
Hold on, drum roll. We need drum roll. Okay, hold on, Ben. And out of likely Democrats, Ben,
38% Crockett. 37% Tallarico, with 21% of voters undecided.
And if you look at trajectory, it's Tallarico.
Well, okay, but didn't he claim like last week or week before that he was up by 8?
Well, one Ipsos poll had him at 8, and Crockett was ahead by 8. Two different polls.
Well, they
it
both
was a big timing difference.
They had internal polls, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But this is going to be a photo finish. Now, what this means is that the Senate race for both parties is going to be the lead race on the ballot.
And top of our ticket.
And top of the ticket.
Tallarico may actually benefit from a larger turnout, possibly.
Oh, I think no question.
If he gets a larger turnout of what we think are Democrat-leaning independents,
those people,
then he'll win. Okay? Now, in the backdrop, we do have the Senate voting.
And I did say that Crockett's negatives are worse than Cornyn's, right?
How much?
48%. 48.
Right. And what are Cornyn's?
What's your race look like?
Our race is, 28, 27, 19 last time I looked.
It's basically photo finish between Paxton and Cornyn, but Cornyn's negatives are high.
Well, you would have to assume that Paxton wins.
Well, it's going to be Cornyn versus somebody. And
what's happening with all this money that's been spent is that Cornyn's numbers haven't moved much, but Paxton's favorables have come down.
Yes.
And so if let's say if it was Cornyn versus Crockett, then she's got a 48 negative, he's only got a 40. Tallarico's negatives are probably the lowest of the crew.
Yeah, really, because nobody knows much of them yet.
And I think if Hunt somehow makes the runoff, I don't think he wins because the absenteeism record is so high that whoever gets him in there is going to make that a huge issue. And certainly the Democrats would if he was the nominee.
I think he's going to have to do a better job. He did a good enough job with regard to voting in Democrat primaries and not voting in Republican primaries and who he voted for in Democrat primaries to get into Congress. But I'm not sure that's going to fly in a Senate race
Well, it's
statewide.
not flying so far.
Well, we'll see. We don't have any updated polling over the last 2 weeks for that Senate race, for our Republican primary. The Democrat primary Senate race, it was
the hot
out 24 hours ago.
Well, I think my horse is gaining Tallarico because I think he's on the upside.
Yeah, no, there's no question. That's why I predicted that he would pull an upset. Now, there's a couple special elections that are ongoing. We've got a congressional election
tomorrow,
which is either Edwards locally in Houston or
Menifee.
By the way, Menifee's got good ads with that.
You like that boxing?
Yeah, I do. I kind of like that. Not the typical thing of him and his wife. By the way, has he got a wife?
Yeah, that's family there.
Okay, so walking with the fence in the background. Yeah, I'm tired of that.
The other Senate race is a big thrill in Manila. Everybody's in the country's involved in it. It is very close.
The state Senate race?
Yeah, the state Senate race. Right.
Okay. Talk to me about why that's so close. What's your hand? Why is that true?
That's Kelly Hancock's replacement.
But why is it true that Democrats are doing so well and unexpectedly?
First off, you did well in November.
Okay.
The race, if you added both Republicans, they only had 52.5% of the vote, and the Democrats zoomed up to 47.5%. I think his name is Hecht, if I remember correctly. Lee Wamsbaugh is now the Republican, but this is these special elections in the middle primaries are incredibly difficult to sort out for the average voter. They think, there's actually people knocking on doors up there, and they believe, there's a mistake. There isn't a vote at Saturday. The mailer was wrong. Okay.
That would be logical.
Now, curiously, the Tarrant County elections operation in the middle of a horrible ice storm up there, literally inches and inches of ice, managed to get most of their polls open on Monday. And, of course, Lean Hidalgo shut down county government on the way onto, La La Land with no ice down here. Now, the Democrats handled it by everybody going to court with a Democrat judge, Democrat lawyers, Democrat county attorney.
Add an extra day.
And added extra 2 days.
Nicely done.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Now, but if
there's nothing wrong with early voting.
You know what would happen if Stan Stannard, as the former Republican county clerk, or I as a voter.
I know what's wrong with
if we had shut down government for 1 day. Okay.
Yeah.
With 2 Democrats without any hazardous conditions, Eric, we would be voter suppression charges from the left coast to the west coast.
But the mayor shut down the city. We all shut down.
Well, that's because Lena is the OEM and she makes the call. See, to deconflict the judges and the mayors, we had to make the judge in charge.
Yeah, but so my point is, why not have early voting all the way up to Friday? Just have it all week anyway.
Well,
what's the difference?
The difference is it's not done by statute. Okay.
Well, I understand that,
but I want to make the strong point that it was the Republican county that kept the polls open in an ice storm, and the Democrat socialist county judge just shut it down.
It's all
by
you
the way,
got.
Was there any ice on Monday? Did you go to work?
In my refrigerator, I did.
Yeah. And I'll give you 2. That's it.
I'm going to read that. I want to read this out of the journal that I just came across. This is about the point I was trying to make about Homan and making this change and how significant it is and how Kristi Noem has led us into the cul-de-sac by opening her mouth way too soon without looking at the videos twice. Hey, don't dump on my girl. I can do that. You can't, okay?
Oh, sorry, Mother. You
All right,
can't.
so we're bringing in our first-round draft choice. Tom Homan said Thursday in Minneapolis he's working on a drawdown plan that it's dependent upon cooperation, all right? Homan's priority is criminal, aliens, public safety threats, and national security threats. Quote, we've got a lot of them to keep us busy, and what they say is that more agents in jail mean less agents in the streets. That's safer for ICE Minneapolis residents and also for collateral arrests. And because what they've been doing is, as they go after the targeted people where they do have their warrants, the administrative warrants, which are all that's required under immigration law, which is not the same as what's required under criminal law.
Yet to be challenged in court.
Okay, well then until you do, feel free. And so they go after targeted individuals. But if they find other illegal immigrants, they're not letting them go, which is fine. They need to deal with them. But nobody's going after big swaths of Hispanic-looking people walking up and down.
That. You're the only
Listen to
this.
this. Let me finish this, okay? Let me finish this. But this is what your guy said, okay? Even though that Tom Homan is making a reasonable request, according to the
mayor,
Governor Tim Walz, we do not assist with or comply with any civil immigration requests from ICE. In our jail, we do not honor administrative detainers or administrative warrants.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, now this is the debate over 287G.
But remember, that administrative warrant was just an opinion from the Justice Department that they're valid.
Okay, but
it's not the law.
But Eric, these ICE holes.
Yeah, but you can say, as you say, that's too cerebral, too cerebral, too cerebral.
Look,
because it's going to be you protecting criminals that are in jail that you will not turn over to ICE.
Ben, you just keep having this daydream.
Next
right
Friday,
now.
Eric, this is what we'll be talking
now,
about.
Ben, this is Safe Communities. This program has existed a long time. Again, for example, Sheriff Gonzalez canceled it when he first got into office. I think he may or may not have actually made some modification to it lately. But this is where the Democratic Party can't get out of their own way.
This is where we need to modify.
Right.
If they're in jail, they can notify ICE.
Right.
That's correct. To see if there's a hold.
They're not doing it.
Well, I understand that.
They're not going to do it.
You've beaten me on the
They
head
are
about
not
it.
going to do it.
Ben,
They are not going to do it in Minnesota or Chicago or L.A. or New York City
And Ben, do you
or
think-
any other
and do you
blueberry
think-
city.
And do you think that your cerebral argument is going to carry the day?
I think you protecting criminals in jails is going to be a big problem for you in about 10 days, yeah.
Okay.
Now, now, by the way, it has been in Harris County since Lena tried to get 4,000 people out of the jail in COVID. It has been in Harris County since 180 people have died being with Democrat, leftist, progressive, socialist judges releasing violent criminals, and they go out and kill minority population.
It is our Achilles heel.
Right. And it will continue until the Democrats get an answer. But, yes, we've been basically having fumbles back and forth this week. But Holman is there to reestablish the line of what the parameters and what the argument's about.
Yeah, I tell you what, let's play Trump on this. I know we're going to have a guest here on a minute.
Sure.
Let's play the Trump clip on this. It was earlier. I found this really funny that Tim Walz wants to talk about the Civil War, and he doesn't even understand the context in which he's saying it. Roll it, Gary. Number 2.
Governor Tim Walz recently likened the conflict on the ground to Fort Sumter, sort of imply that this is the beginning of a civil war. Do you agree with that characterization? Do you feel like there's a civil war brewing?
Well, does he know what Fort Sumter was, or do you think somebody wrote it out for him? Now, this is, I was elected on law and order. I was elected on a strong border. We had a border that allowed 25 million people to come in. Many were murderers. They murdered people. We had 11,888 murderers.
As I
now, by the
keep
way,
reminding Eric that the federal government's authorization and authority to protect federal property and federal people dates back to Fort Sumter, when a group of civilians started firing on a federal fort, and Lincoln decided he was going to protect federal installations.
They were secessionists in South Carolina. In fact, the first shot was
April
filed
12th.
by the cannon named secession, if I remember the story correctly. Anyway, now back to this. The more Walz talks, the better off who is? Republicans, okay? Because Walz can't help himself. Now, he got saved because for a while it was $9 billion of fraud and he was headed into oblivion. But even now, he can't. He's not sure-footed, Eric. And why would you come up with the Fort Sumter observation?
See, I like him being the face of
Yeah.
your side.
I'll be talking to Klobuchar about that.
Yeah,
okay.
You talk to Amy. Tell Amy that she's running.
You know what? Tell her
push the other guy out.
Tell
of the
her
way.
I said it'll be great to have a governor of Minnesota who's not as stupid as the incumbent, because I think she'd be better than what they have now.
Yes, because 2-0 is still better than that. Anyway,
She's not.
I think
She's not
Klobuchar
as
will be a
stupid.
great governor.
No,
she's not as
no,
stupid
she's
as the
not,
one
no.
they got.
No, because he is flat bottom stupid on how to handle this stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
You're
We're
talking
gonna
And
about
talk-
of course, Kamala's a great judge of character
Are you talking
too.
about my vice president?
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
That same guy?
Kamala's judge
Same
of
guy,
character.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to get started on a political series because this is primary year.
Oh, boy,
let's
yes.
take we'll take somebody who has been watching and conducting forums on all the majors. Okay, has picked up a little bit of Dave Welch's role too as well. You'll like to hear from him.
Oh, wonderful.
He's gonna be on next. We'll get his insights as to what
Is
he's
he
been seeing.
handicapping?
He might. We will find out.
Okay.
Right after this. Get your calls in 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon calls. The Three Amigos will be back after this on The Voice of Texas.
Got a question or comment for the Amigos? Call now. 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738.
Donald Trump has given Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick his endorsement, saying Dan Patrick is a true MAGA Republican. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is the driving force behind the Texas legislature that makes laws from conservative ideas. And Patrick has made Texas the most conservative state in America.
As Lieutenant Governor, I fought to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Texans and pass campus carry, open carry, and constitutional carry. Today, every Texan has the right to bear arms. Protecting Texans is important to me. That's why I dedicated $3 billion over the next decade for dementia research.
He's an amazing politician, Lieutenant Governor, a man of great religion. Dan Patrick, one of the most highly respected men in politics. We worked on something having to do with school choice, and we knocked it over the fences, and that's the ultimate school choice in Texas, and he's been fighting for it for years.
I am giving him my complete and total endorsement.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Dan Patrick campaign.
Hi, y'all. It's Kathy from Baker Mortgage. You know, with all the scary stuff we've been through, it's still true that timing is everything, and the time to buy is now. But don't go looking without a solid pre-approval in hand. And this includes an application and a detailed discussion about property taxes. If you didn't have the talk, about property taxes, you really don't know what you're pre-approved for. That should make you wonder what else they may have left out. Mortgages are personal. Let's face it, we're dealing with your home and your money, and it doesn't get much more personal than that. When it's the largest transaction that most people will ever be involved in, imagine having someone on your side looking out after you. What a concept. We audit your closing statement to make sure you're not paying for things that you're not supposed to. Do you think your big bank's going to do that? Probably not. For all of your mortgage needs, call us at Baker Mortgage. I promise you'll be glad you did. We're at 281-313-MOVE or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License number 263213.
Balancing your work, family, and health is a lot to manage. Houston Methodist has a lot to offer. Convenient primary care checkups, personalized orthopedics to keep you moving, and experts in specialties like cardiology, neurology, and GI, all in one manageable system, so you can stay healthy and strong. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it for you. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
You're listening to the Amigos on The Voice of Texas.
And that's what we do every day on The Voice of Texas. We tell you the facts and where your money goes, especially when the Three Amigos rise into town. And as promised, I've got somebody that's been watching these races very closely, actually been conducting major candidate forums, who happens to be my senatorial district chair, but also well-known pastor James Buntrock. James, glad you could join us here on The Voice of Texas.
Well, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, James, and you've been putting on some major forums. I think for the average person, the two biggest, I think, are for the congressional seats, probably Congressional 38, and also for the county judge. And I was thinking about you when I asked you to call you. I was at the Houston Realty Breakfast Club sitting at a table, and there was a guy named Ruben that apparently had put out stuff all over that PAC meeting without permission, and there were people literally picking that up one by one. And I said, well, we're definitely in campaign time now. So you had a congressional 38, and so tell us about what happened, and because that's the big open seat in the area.
Well, that's a critical race, and our country is really on the knife edge of decisions that are being made in Congress, and so the Democrats would love to take more of the congressional seats, and we've got to do our best to hold on to them. So I'm not certain, but I think we have a somewhat of a Manchurian plant in this race, and that would be the Larry Rubin that you named earlier. And the campaign materials, putting them out in inappropriate places and in appropriate ways is not the first time. But we got to cut him some slack because I don't think he's from around here.
Like, where do you think he's from?
My intel says that he resides in Mexico City, that he is at least the most recent or maybe the current president of a group called American Society of Mexico. My understanding is they represent expats and American industries to Mexican government and Mexican industries down there in Mexico. And I don't even think he has a residence here in Harris County.
Where these campaign signs that are popping up, where are they from with his name on it?
Yeah, that's another funny fact right there. This guy is so America first that he has his campaign signs printed in Mexico.
I remember running as a Democrat for the first time.
Yeah.
And my printed material, didn't know, naive, but everyone, you had to have that little
labor, logo,
and I didn't. And
so,
you
had the
I did not have the.
Oh, you didn't have
my
the
first
FLCIO?
printing, I did not, and boy.
So how did you survive in the Democrat primary?
I burned. I got a call.
You lost that one,
man,
huh?
I got a call. I mean, I won, but what I'm saying is I burned that. I mean, I had to have it reprinted.
So James, you've been watching these, people, and you're bringing up concerns because you've seen this one person, but there's a lot of other, candidates too that come through, and part of the problem is you got a lot of people that just show up to run in Congress, and they just they're there.
They come out of the woodwork right at campaign time, but many of these people we never see them in any of the grassroots activities throughout the off time.
All right, and so you were and now on the congressional people, you had Shelley, you had DeVaslos, you had Bonk, you had I don't even know Perry. Maybe I'm coming off.
Yeah,
names.
there's 10 candidates in that race, and so I'll list them for you real quick. John Bonk, Shelley DeVaslos, a guy named Barrett McNabb, an attorney named Greg Goralski, Carmen Montiel, she's previously run in CD 18.
Right.
Michael Pratt, a school board guy out of Tomball. Jeff Una, a Tomball pawn shop owner. There's another lady, Jennifer Sunt, and Larry Rubin, who both filed very last minute, like in the last hour or so of filing. And the last guy, I won't even mention his name, but he was convicted in 2015, sentenced to 5 years for tampering with a petition for candidacy in lieu of a filing fee. I can't make it up.
Boy, we're attracting all the best and the brightest on this one.
As a non-observer of that race, I've seen Shelley's name pop up a lot. I don't know who she is or whether she's
was
runner.
the vice chairman of the party.
Okay, her name pops up.
She's been around, right? The other one that has a lot of name ID is Bonk, but that's because Cruz endorsed him. He's new to the process. I think that's a fair statement, James. But you had more trouble from this Rubin guy than all the rest of them combined at that forum. And that's worth noting because that's generally unusual for first-time candidates to come in and be that type of disruption. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's fair. We had a great forum. About 200 people showed up. It was back in December at the end of last year, And we had I was aware of 7 candidates that had filed at that time, and I invited them to the forum, and we had special podiums made and our stage built out for this forum. But very last minute, Ruben came in there, last hour or so of filing, and then sent me a terse email demanding to know the details of the forum and where he should send his picture and what door he should walk through. And I'd never heard of this guy at all, and we didn't find out about his Mexican roots and dual citizenship until after the forum. But he showed up at the forum and had special signs made that said, "I wasn't invited, but I showed up anyway." And he put those outside and handed out those flyers. In fact, he put flyers on people's cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, well, it's campaign season. You know, that's what's going to happen. Now, you've also had a big forum on the county judges race in Harris County. And which is, I'm going from memory, help me, Marty Langton, but, you know, Orlando Sanchez, you know, everyone on this station knows him. Warren Howell, Eliza
Dutt.
Yeah, Dutt. And Oscar, nice guy.
Oscar Gonzalez.
Yeah, right.
and a Greek fellow named George Zos.
Right. Now, when you have these forums and you do ask questions like, for a Republican audience, one of the questions you'll ask is, have you ever supported a Democrat? And if you have, or don't, why? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we ask, have you ever run for office? Have you ever run in the Democrat primary? Have you ever supported a Democrat? Have you ever been supported by a Democrat or a Democrat party or organization? So those are questions we ask right up front.
Now, you asked the county judge people, and you did get one odd response, so you might as well lay it out.
Yep. So all candidates listed, they all immediately answered no to those questions. They had never run in a Democrat primary, never been supported by a Democrat organization or party, and never given to the Democrats. And so you've got Marty Langton, who stands out right there with perhaps a Pinocchio on a couple of those.
Right, because, Eric, everybody knows. I mean, he's Marianne Perez, et cetera.
Years ago.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not new.
Yeah,
Look,
everyone knows that. I mean,
and James, if you'd asked me that question, I mean, technically, I'd have to say yes because I supported Whitmire over Sheila Jackson Lee. Okay, but I think the choice for everybody there would be John Whitmire, Sheila Jackson Lee. Well, 93% of the people would have picked Whitmire. But
that was not a gotcha question.
Yeah, it's not. But it's a nonpartisan race.
Nonpartisan race. Honestly, I can't imagine that you would be dinged.
No, but I would say it anyway, just because it's a pretty good laugh line, actually.
What happens is that it's not a disqualifier. Obviously, they're on the ballot, but they're not going to get your endorsement in all likelihood. Or is it an endorsement meeting?
No, it's not an endorsement. It was just a legitimate forum to get the information
just
out
to get
the
to know
voters.
them.
And so, And if anybody had answered yes to those questions, the immediate follow-up was take 30 seconds and give us an explanation as to why.
Context.
Right. Okay. No, the part of the problem with the campaign season is, and Eric and I've talked about, it becomes the silly season.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. You've got people, and in this day of being able to check so rapidly on anybody's phone by asking an AI. It's just, it is just not the right way to play it. Whatever it is you got to say it, because otherwise people are going to know about it. All right.
And the information is out there. That if people want to watch this forum in its entirety, it's harriscountyjudgeforum.com.
And if you want to, and James, because you're doing a real service for this, James, your church is well known. But, I mean, you're literally building podiums, being able to get 7 people out. It's a major production to have a 7-person plus debate, or even 6 with the county judge candidates. And that's the major production. And so I'm glad you posted it. So let people that are undecided, don't know these candidates, if they want to take the time and watch. How long was like the county judge race, the one that you posted there?
The forum in its entirety was about 2 hours and 20 minutes. You take out the front part of the program. It's roughly 2 hours of questions. And this is not a normal forum where we ask the same question of every candidate and they all start sounding the same. There's different types of questions, yes, no, short answers. Candidates got to pose a question to each other across the stage. So there's a variety in this forum, and I think we put maybe upwards of 60 questions that we got answers to of these candidates.
Yeah.
You won't get that in any other forum. This was unique.
Let me ask you, this is Eric, and thanks for being with us, and the only Democrat, I think, west of the Loop.
Less of the Beltway. Less of the Beltway.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm on a visa.
Even though Cy-Fair would disagree with you, but go ahead.
You know, my party smartly took away the Hidalgo factor of the county judge race, making it a more even fight, because I think Hidalgo would have been. She's easy fodder.
Sure.
What was the gist? Tax reduction, road, sewers, flood. What was it that the candidates were trying to distinguish themselves? They can't run against.
And what did they ask each other? That's the key thing.
What is the platform going to be? We took the boogeyman away. So now without the boogeyman, what really is the party's stance on what y'all want from the county judge? What is it, or what did they say they're going to do?
It really got down to the nuts and bolts of county operation. Very, very little of that. There's some ideology in there. You know, I'm a pastor. I want to know that they've got biblical principled standards that they're going to live and operate by. So there's some questions along those lines. We want to make sure that they at least have some decent morals. But most of it was really the nuts and bolts and the experience and their priorities. And so, the making Houston and Harris County safe again, the flood issues, the money corruption, where did the flood money go? What about the toll roads and those types of issues? So it really was the nuts and bolts. So it really got away from the partisan issues.
Good. Well, that's good, because that's what a county judge.
And right, and so you've got both these posted. And James, you doing any more forums, or is 2 big ones enough?
2 big ones is enough for this race. We're coming up against early voting early next month, and so there's really not time for us to pull a production together like this.
Well,
it really is a lot of work. It's a big deal.
Yeah, no, and James, that's why I wanted you on. I wanted to laud you first for doing that. A lot of people that they take these things for granted. It takes a lot of work, and when you get people that you don't know what the reaction's going to be. You had kind of a wild card in the congressional race. You know, it's like Orlando's run I think 12 times now. So I've voted for him. I don't know. 10 times, okay, because I didn't live in everyone. I guess I'm going to vote for him again here, but it's, with all of this, it takes a lot of work, and I want to thank you for doing it, because you take your job as pastor seriously, but you also take your job as SD seriously.
Civic leader.
And he is. That's it.
I'm saying.
That's it. Okay. And by doing this, and so where can people go watch these debates? Give the website one more time.
All right, so for the CD38 forum, we've got a little website built, and the link is on there for the video for the entirety of the forum, unedited. It's TexasCD38forum.com, TexasCD38forum.com. It has all the information on the Republican candidates that participated right there on that site. And then for the Harris County Judge Forum, it's HarrisCountyJudgeForum.com. And you'll find the same there for the judge race.
Well, thank you for taking. Yeah, go ahead, James. Give you last word.
I'll say this about putting this together. This wasn't something that we invented overnight. This was a culmination of a lot of people who we got together and started doing forums for a little school board race, and it grew from there. So it's just really the ideas have come together and grown from here, and it's gotten to be something.
So this is Sandra, Terry, Bill. Everybody's in on this deal, right?
Yeah, they're all in on it, and it's not me. It's a team. And I'd like to say that there's a pastor in Central Baptist Church, Deer Park, Pastor Doug Harris. He got excited to do a forum. He's done one. You got Pastor Steve Riggle, Grace Church in the Woodlands. They got a series of forums for candidates and meet and greets happening. So we're seeing more and more churches get engaged and get information out on these candidates, and that's really what we want to see.
Well, I think it's great, because that's, having people provide that information, provide the people decide whether they've got principal leadership. And, I do. I use Orlando. We've had, he's been a host here on radio. We've known him for so long, but you got a lot of newcomers coming in, and people that you may have known only tangentially, like the mayor or others that are out there that are running. Warren. I mean, I can go down. There's a lot of good people that are running for these races, and you've known them for years. So it's great to see that you got them out there for people to watch firsthand. So hats off to you. Pastor James Redrock, also SD7 chair, and he's put in tremendous amount of effort. Really proud of SD7 chair and his team for having those big public policy debates. Because, Eric, he really is a
civic leader.
Thank you.
Historically, Democrats always used, churches. This isn't new, particularly to Democratic politics. Because, we're on Sunday, we were at all the the African American churches. It's always been a standard of where the meet and greets were.
Well,
I mean, where the base is, the same with his
the same
churches
way
out here. That's where the base is.
It's good for everybody, for people to get a chance to listen to actually. You just don't get that in modern times anymore because it's so compressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about clicks and how fast people scroll on their phones, and it's nice to see you got you've led the way for an old-fashioned forum and debate. That's a great job, James. Pastor James Buttonrock, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, we're going to turn the barn and get to Eric's good news right after we pay a few bills here on the Voice of Texas.
Got a question or comment for the Amigos? Call now. 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738.
President Trump doesn't trust backstabbing rhino Chip Roy because in Washington, Chip Roy defended Liz Cheney and wanted to impeach President Trump.
The President of the United States deserves universal condemnation for what was clearly impeachable conduct.
Chip Roy sided with Gavin Newsom and the trans lobby to allow radical transgender surgeries on kids. And Roy told MAGA voters,
"You can kiss my ass."
Chip Roy even helped illegal aliens avoid deportation. Texas deserves Trump ally MAGA Mays Middleton. MAGA Mays defeated the atheists, restoring the 10 Commandments in schools. MAGA Mays stopped radical transgender surgeries on kids, banned men from girls' sports, and kicked perverted men out of girls' restrooms. And MAGA Mays designated drug cartels terrorists and is fighting to stop Sharia law in Texas. That's why President Trump called Mays a MAGA champion with a conservative record that is second to none. Trump ally MAGA Mays Middleton for Texas Attorney General.
Political ad paid for by the Mays Middleton campaign.
This report sponsored by Gallery Furniture. If made in America is important to you, come to Gallery Furniture. Buy it today, get it today. Gallery Furniture saves you money.
From the KSEV Weather Center, tonight expect clear to partly cloudy skies with cold temperatures dropping to a low of 31. Tomorrow morning will bring some breezy conditions, giving way to plenty of sunshine later on with a high reaching 46. Tomorrow night will be clear and very cold with a low of 26. Moving into Sunday, we can anticipate plenty of sunshine and a high of 54. Looking ahead to Monday, there will be periods of clouds and sunshine with temperatures climbing to a high of 67. With the KSEV Weather Center forecast, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina.
Experience ultimate comfort and support with the Gallery Furniture Cougar Power Reclining Sofa, Love Seat, Recliner, and Sectional available right now at Gallery Furniture. Equipped with power headrest, power footrest, and power lumbar support, the Cougar series offers full body relaxation at the touch of a button. With premium performance fabrics, each piece is not only stylish but also stain resistant. Buy the Cougar Power Reclining Sofa, Love Seat chair. Gallery Furniture delivers free tonight.
Illegal aliens engaged in welfare fraud. Politicians lining their own pockets. Too many crooks stealing from the taxpayers. Republican Don Huffines says enough. As Texas Comptroller, Don Huffines will doge waste, fraud, and abuse and put the crooks who steal our tax dollars in jail where they belong. Don Huffines is a conservative businessman, and he'll bring a private sector mindset to state government. He will aggressively audit every government program, and Don Huffines will eliminate all taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens and abolish every DEI program in every government agency in Texas. Because Don Huffines is determined to stop politicians from wasting our money. Vote MAGA Trump Republican Don Huffines for Comptroller.
Political ad paid for by the Don Huffines campaign.
I can feel it coming in the air now.
birthday, Phil Collins.
Oh, Lord. I've been waiting. One pill makes you Lord.
Happy birthday, Marty Balin, one of the original Jefferson airplanes.
Well, this is Grace Slick at her best because she takes this bolero and just blasts it into the stratosphere, okay? So anyway, Phil Collins had a great relationship with him when he donated $6 million worth of artifacts to the state on Alma.
Happy birthday.
And now, here we go.
Harry Wayne Casey, one of the beginning Casey Sunshine Band.
Casey Sunshine Band.
Down tonight. Happy birthday, Don Everly.
Oh, another.
One of the classic songs.
Well, this was kind of his one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but it's a classic song.
I think I'm gonna die. Bye-bye, love.
We celebrate the life of Mary Ann Faithful today. She passed away. This is her only hit, though. This is it.
Oh,
One
this
and
is
done.
the classic
Mary Ann
one
Faithful.
hit.
This
Yeah,
is
right.
it. This is it. Okay, there are very few events that I could pull out that had significance that I could relate to. On this date in 48, you probably don't know this, but Gandhi was assassinated on this particular date. The Tet Offensive, by the way,
Started.
and that swayed the public. That was it.
Because the immortal words were, if I've lost Cronkite, I've lost the American public.
Inflection.
Right.
We're having
it was an
something
inflection
going,
point.
We have something going on. We're going to see. Whether
Well, yeah,
that's-
because
whether
Minneapolis
it's
could be an inflection point or not.
point.
That's true. You don't know
it was
yet.
the Beatles' last public performance, 1969.
1969.
Yeah, the last today on this date.
All right, well,
so
let's-
folks, that's it. We got callers, or
All right, we do. We got callers.
I got drive home, 1540, KGBC, 700 KSEV. Senator.
All right. Well, let's get Pablo on, and I think Ben showed up again. Okay, let's get him on too. All right.
Oh, drats, he did.
Paul, you go. Come on, Paul.
You know this pretty that got shot.
Yeah.
Up in Minnesota. The week before, they had video of him kicking in.
Oh yeah, no, everybody's seen
lights
it.
on a truck.
Well,
and
he did.
spitting on and actually attacking a ICE officer.
No, I mean he didn't kick the truck once. He kicked it
No.
once, and then they were driving off. They said, forget it." It's when he kicked the
So
light
is that a-
out.
is that a death
is when they
penalty? Yeah.
stopped. No, they just went. They wrestled him to the ground, but they didn't arrest him.
I'm saying, but that's
Right, no.
oranges of why
But
he was
you
shot.
know, he took a gun with ammo.
Okay.
Why is he taking a gun to ammo unless he's planning on using it on somebody?
Why did Rittenhouse
like
do
the
it?
ICE?
You know, Paul,
I
I
mean-
would love, Paul, this is when we had this discussion, I would love for somebody to be able to ask him. I wish he had been an alive perpetrator as opposed to a dead martyr, because that would be
Right.
exactly the question you would ask. Okay? Now,
And also,
and by the way,
and
from
also
all the
real
pictures
quick-
we know, at least one other ICE agent took the weapon, at least
had
off.
the weapon.
Had the weapon off.
yeah, and also, real quick, they had a couple of weeks ago. They've exposed how this is coordinated across the country.
Of that,
Where they
there's
got
no
in the-
question. There is simply
You know,
no
and,
question.
and, you know, so you know, and these people up there, that is an insurrection. Walsh and Fry, Small Fry and Walsh, Tampon Tim, they are fomenting an insurrection.
You know, Paul,
that is a
Paul,
perfect
what's going to
definition
happen?
of insurrection.
Okay, what's going to happen? We got to take a break. So go ahead and fire it up. It's going to come down to there is some major discussion between Holman and Ellison, and of course this is MAGA Republican versus leftist progressive socialist. So whatever has been cut deal, we're about ready to find out about it. Because it's taken all the emphasis off of Walls and his $9 billion fraud problem, just for starters. So we're going to find out next week because Holman's there, and it will all come out by that point in time. So call back then. Let's take a break. Turn and burn. We'll have the Soul Man out of the break to give us the bonus round right next here on The Voice of Texas.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. The country and the world are changing for the good. If you're watching the mainstream media, that's not the message you're getting. They've been brainwashing you for years. Dig into the real news and wake up. You were born free and freedom was given to you by God. The word government is derived from the Greek words meaning to steer a rudder. That should tell you something. God put us here to love one another no matter what race, religion, or ethnic group. And I'll admit sometimes I have a problem doing this, but I'm working on it. If you need a real estate company, call O'Hara & Company Real Estate at 281-373-3393 or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. Also, if you're looking for a home builder, remodeling, patio cover, any type of construction projects, give O'Hara Homes a call at 281-373-3393. And here's my grandson.
This is Casey Martinez. God bless America and God bless Texas. One more thing. God bless my pawpaw.
Let's recognize some victories for the American people. The formation of a final reckoning as to what happened in the 2020 election. Leftists like Don Lime are being arrested for breaking the law, and massive Democrat fraud is being exposed everywhere. And it's leading folks to ask a very simple question as we're staring down the barrel of tax day once again. For all of the government's fraud against our people, where do we get our money back? We'll talk about it on the Chris Salcedo Show. See you at 7 after the press box on the Voice of Texas.
Money Matters with Steve Drake.
But I'm going to negotiate, and I'm going to go to 3 places, and I'm going to get the price because I'm mad about it.
Now Mondays through Thursdays at 11 a.m. till noon here on AM 700 KSEV and AM 1540 KGBC, the Voice of Texas.
And welcome back to the Voice of Texas. The three amigos, Drew fighting for your Second Amendment right to bring your shield and guns with a license to any protest you want to, and joined, of course, by the tax man at the helm, Paul Bettencourt, and the liberal lefty judge, Eric Gandel, who always tried to prevent him from doing that.
Oh, I took advantage of you, Ben. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
Okay, well,
and unfortunately, I just saw in the news headlines the Senate has passed an extension of all the government agencies and funding, with the exception of Homeland Security, which only gets a 2-week extension, which puts us as hostage of the Democrats because now they control the cards.
Ben, did they say what the vote was? I'm curious.
71 yeses and I think 36 noes.
No, you can't. No, be 26 noes.
26 noes.
All right.
26 noes.
Well,
yeah.
now
but the House hasn't passed it yet, but they will.
Well, they at this point in time they don't have any choice because.
Well, it'll be Monday before they do.
Yeah, well, because the president wants it, but B, once the Senate votes that way, they would have a large scale government shutdown. Now, this is going to set up an epic fight over Homeland Security.
True, but the Republicans have to vote yes on this now. They can't they would be in charge of shutting the government down then.
Well, but I mean, next 2 weeks, I have a feeling there's some outline of a broad deal that was already discussed,
which is going to include Noam going. How about that?
Well, that you could make that prediction. Again, Ben would say no.
Paul. No, I don't. I think Democrats are going to be a hard no, and they're going to drive it into the.
Well, they're going to vote.
Drive it all the way in.
They're going to vote.
And they're not going to agree to anything short of a full retreat out of the state of Minnesota.
Well, Ben, knowing how these things work, there is a time for people to vote no, because I don't believe them. And Eric, you agree with me? They're going to have to vote no once. True?
Probably. Sure.
Yeah. So you don't know when
and
that's
I'm
scheduled.
Saying,
right. They're going to vote no once.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah,
it's going to be more than once, Paul. They're going to keep voting no. Homeland Security will not get funded. It will not get funded.
Well,
they will prevent it from being funded.
Well, I know
in its entirety.
I know what we're going to talk about next week and the week after, because that issue is queued up. Hey, Gary, can you get Al on with Ben? Can you do that? Let's bring our caller on. Line 1. All right. Al, you're up next on The Voice of Texas. Come on, Al.
Thank you. I know this is completely off topic,
but it's a grandparent of a child that has to have special learning. What has been the measured result of the No Child Left Behind? Could y'all touch on that sometime after you had a chance to glance at the numbers of the education?
Yeah, we will, because Eric actually worked.
I was part of that, but that's long gone. But you did put a lot of. You have changed, I hope, the face of a special ed.
We have. Now, two things. One, there's about $30,000, I'm going from memory, for ESAs for special needs kids. And so people are actually applying for those. We should have some data based on maybe next week on that. And then we also, one of my bills changed special education funding to an intensity-based model, Al, to where we're going to start with evaluations if people don't have them, or use existing evaluations and start moving them through the system based upon what the special needs valuation or their plan is. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about there because there's been a lot of changes. So that was just the first year of that. It got partially funded at, I want to say, $600 million. So the change did, but a lot of changes. And Eric, I guess we can go back and look over the old stats on No Child Left Behind, because you worked for Rod Page.
Yeah, I did, and the Bush administration pushed it, but it's just kind of dissolved after Rod left, or President Bush.
You mean
left.
2008? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I just didn't seem to have any traction. It was more about reading than anything else.
Wouldn't it be better left to the states, Eric, for that special ed funding, that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, even block grants if we had a plan. Now the senators talk about a plan in place. That makes sense. Make sure we dyslexia caught early.
I mean, there's so much news in the last year. You don't even remember that, yes, the theory is to take the Department of Education and turn it into block grants for the local states. But, all this gets literally brought up and passed at warp speed or executive orders, and then it's long gone. All right, Ben, you're no good golf for you in the morning. It's too cold, right?
Yeah, I'm going to stay warm, and y'all be safe out there this weekend.
Oh, no, dinner with Klobuchar tomorrow. No. I got big to do.
And I got dinner with my daughter, who got through her jury for the first time.
Well, you know how I feel about your daughter.
And she wants to tell Uncle, Eric all about it at dinner.
I can't wait. I really can't.
All right, and so anyway, have a great weekend. Good night. God bless.
You're listening to the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KG.